The roar of the tractor was deafening, a beast unleashed, tearing through the quiet morning like a tornado. Its massive wheels chewed up the gravel path, spitting stones as it barreled toward the Pinewood Estates community center squat, beige building with a sign that read, Pinewood Property Office. I stood there, heart pounding, waving my arms and shouting, "Stop! For God's sake, stop!" But it was too late. The crash was catastrophic. Glass shattered, wood splintered, and the metal roof crumpled like paper as the tractor's front loader ripped into the building. People screamed. Someone was filming. Mrs. Evelyn Carter, the HOA president with a voice like a creaky hinge and a heart as cold as a Nebraska winter, stood frozen, her violation notice still clutched in her manicured hand. She hadn't seen it coming. Nobody had. But here's the kicker. I didn't call that tractor. I didn't know who was driving it, though I had a hunch why they did it. It all started with my barn door. A door I'd painted red. Just red. You're probably wondering how a red barn door could lead to a neighborhood in chaos. Well, grab a coffee and settle in, because this is one wild ride. My name's Tom Bennett, and I own a 5-acre farm just outside Franklin, Tennessee. I'm a small-town guy, 55, spent my life fixing things: tractors, fences, sometimes hearts. I keep to myself, wave at neighbors, help when someone's truck is stuck in the mud. But I don't take kindly to being bullied, especially not on my own land. After my wife, Clara, passed 3 years ago, it's just been me, my dog Rusty, and the farm. I found peace in the quiet, repairing the old barn, planting corn, keeping the fence tight against stray cattle. Then, 6 months back, I decided to repaint the barn door. It was peeling, faded, an eyesore. I chose a bright, warm red, like the sunsets Clara loved. I had no idea that color would spark a war. The first warning was a polite little note in my mailbox, typed in cold. Barn door color violates Section 4.1.3 of Pinewood Estates HOA Aesthetic Guidelines. Approved colors: natural wood, black, sage green. Repaint within 7 days or face fines. I laughed and tossed it in the trash. My farm wasn't part of Pinewood Estates. It predated their subdivision by decades, sitting a half-mile from their cookie-cutter homes. But they didn't care. The second warning came with a knock. Evelyn Carter herself, clipboard in hand, red lipstick sharp as a blade. "This is official HOA business," she snapped before I could say a word. I leaned against the porch rail. "This ain't your land, ma'am." She smirked. "Our jurisdiction expanded last month. Your property's included. Page 8 of the revised charter." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean my red door?" She clicked her pen. "It's disruptive. It clashes with our community's harmony." I glanced at my open fields, cows grazing in the distance. "Ain't no community here." Her eyes narrowed. "You'll be fine daily until it's repainted." Then she marched off like she'd won a duel. That tone of hers, that clipboard like a scepter, it got under my skin. I wasn't some hot-headed kid. I was a widower trying to heal, and that red door was my tribute to Clara. So, I didn't repaint it. I polished it. The letters piled up, then came the cameras. A guy in a yellow vest measured my fence line. A drone buzzed over my barn. I confronted him. "You're trespassing." He flashed a badge. HOA compliance officer. That night, a certified letter arrived. $150 daily fines, retroactive. I'm no rich man, odd jobs, welding, tractor repair, that kind of money hurts. I tried calling, but got voicemails and robots. Evelyn wouldn't answer. Then one morning, I found a neon yellow sticker slapped on my door. "Code violation, subject to removal." That was it. I drove to the HOA office, found it locked, and waited for their Tuesday hours. At 9:45 a.m., thermos in hand, I parked outside. Evelyn arrived, cream blazer pristine, groaning when she saw me. "You can't find people into submission," I said. Her smile was ice. "Your door's the problem, Mr. Bennett. Fix it, or the consequences continue." That's when I got an idea, not revenge, but defiance. I repainted the door a brighter red, added white trim, and carved Clara's initials into the wood. That afternoon, Evelyn stormed down my drive with 2 men, cameras in tow. "Last warning," she barked. I just smiled. "Do what you gotta do." The next morning, everything changed. Rusty barked like mad. My phone lit up with texts, "Turn on the news." I ran outside and heard the engine, a massive tractor roaring toward the HOA office. Evelyn was there, screaming. Then crash. The building was rubble. The cab door opened, and out stepped Joe Harper, my old army buddy, a grizzled handyman who kept to himself. He wore dusty overalls and a look of grim satisfaction. "Joe," I said. He nodded. Gave him something to write about. Evelyn charged over, shrieking, "You're going to jail." Joe was calm. "I know exactly what I've done. But how do you justify bullying a man over paint?" Police arrived, cuffed Joe, and led him away. The crowd was silent, but I felt a mix of guilt and awe. Joe did that for me. Joe and I served together in Fort Bragg, same unit. After he got out, he settled nearby, never married, kept quiet. When Clara died, he'd stop by, fix things, bring chili. I'd vent about the HOA, and he'd squint and say, "That red door ain't hurting nobody." I didn't know he was listening that hard. After his arrest, news vans swarmed, and I sat on my porch, torn between guilt and a strange satisfaction. That office had hurt so many misses. Wilson fined for tall daisies, a single mom hit for parking on grass. It was a bully's throne, now dust. That evening, a young woman approached. "Mr. Bennett?" "I'm Sarah, Joe's niece." I stood, apologetic, but she stopped me. "He's been mad about the HOA for years. He did this because you're like family." She handed me a note in Joe's scrawl. "Bullies don't stop unless you stand up. Pain ain't a crime. Love ain't a violation. If this gets M off your back, I'll do my time proud. P.S. Feed Rusty." I read it twice, whispering, "You old fool." The next day, a county zoning inspector, mustache thick as a broom, showed up. "Your land ain't under the HOA's control. Their paperwork's invalid. Fines are void." I laughed so hard I scared the birds. Evelyn returned 2 days later, pale but defiant. "We've petitioned for retroactive inclusion. You haven't won." I leaned against my red door. "You already lost." That night, I heard a rumble. A construction crew was digging a trench on my property line, erecting a sign, "Future Pinewood Estates Welcome Arch, Mandatory Entry Point." They were claiming my land. At dawn, I confronted a worker sipping coffee. He flashed a permit from the HOA. I snapped a photo and called my friend Mike, a lawyer who'd once been a rodeo clown. He arrived, snakeskin boots gleaming, and declared the permit fake. At the county clerk's office, I confirmed my property line hadn't changed since 1968. The trench was on my land. Mike sent cease and desist letters, but the fight escalated. A group of residents, Laura, a mom fined for a pink mailbox, a veteran fined for a futuristic solar panel, joined me. "We're sick of Evelyn," Laura said. "We'll help." I was floored. "Bring your trucks, your cameras, your truth. Tomorrow, we take back our land." We planned all night. I posted a video online. "I'm Tom Bennett, a farmer, a veteran. This is my land, and they're trying to take it over a red door. If you've been pushed around, join me tomorrow, 9 a.m. By morning, my field was packed, dozens of neighbors, kids with signs, even a barbecue grill. Sarah wore a shirt, "Red door, strong heart." At 9:05, Evelyn arrived in a black SUV with 2 board members and a suited man. "You're trespassing," she declared. Mike stepped forward with a cease and desist and a lawsuit for harassment. Sheriff Coleman rolled up, reviewed our documents, and ordered the crew to stop. The crowd cheered. Evelyn glared at my door, hissed, "This isn't over," and left. 3 days later, my door was ashes. Someone torched it at night, leaving gasoline stench. Sarah found me staring at the ruins. "We rebuild," she said. By noon, 100 people showed up with wood, paint, hammers. We built a stronger door, painted it red, and added an arch with stars and wildflowers. Sarah hung a banner, "Joe's Door." Evelyn arrived with a lawyer and an assistant, claiming the structure was illegal. I tore up their cease and desist. "Touch this door, and we'll see what happens." The assistant, filming, muttered, "You'll regret this." That night, Mike revealed Evelyn was working with developers to condemn my land as non-conforming for a retail plaza. It wasn't just about the door, it was a land grab. We held a town hall in my field. Neighbors shared stories of Evelyn's tyranny. We prepared for court. The hearing was packed, 10 trucks for minivans, Rusty in a bandana. Mike presented our case: harassment, fake jurisdiction, arson. Joe testified. I wrecked the office alone. Hank's innocent. Sarah submitted wildlife camera footage showing Evelyn's assistant burning the door. The judge dismissed the case, banned the HOA from targeting me, and ordered an investigation. Cheers echoed. That night, the HOA voted to dissolve. Evelyn's lone no was drowned out. She left silently. Weeks later, workers found a rusted safe in the trench, dated 1922, with a plaque, Montgomery County Historical Project. A historian opened it, revealing gold coins, ledgers, and a map. The ledgers proved my land and Pinewood Estates was a protected heritage site, nullifying the HOA's claims. The county declared my farm a historical zone, granting funds for a barn museum. Evelyn fled town, leaving a model red door and a note. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I felt no anger, only peace. Joe restored historical sites. Sarah started a blog, Red Door Dispatch. Rusty got a bench, Rusty the Brave, farm guardian. At sunset, I sit by the red door, glowing in the light. Neighbors honk, kids race by. The safes in my barn's history hall, open Saturdays. People ask if I hate Evelyn. I don't. She built on fear, it crumbled. I built on truth, it stands. This is the story of a red door, a broken HOA, a tractor, and a community that fought back. Share your thoughts below. Do you think Joe's tractor was justified? What would you do against injustice? Let's hear your stand.